I'm back doing another movie review. Um, Now I want to review a George A. Romero movie, written by Stephen King, Creepshow. Now, Creepshow um, came out in 1982, and like I said, it was directed by George Romero, and it was written by Stephen King. Um, I don't know if he wrote all these stories or he was the writer of the whole movie. I'm not really sure. I know he wrote um, a couple of these stories, and I know he actually shows up in one of these. Basically, what it is, it's an anthology film. If you don't know what an anthology film is it's basically a bunch of short stories, um, and they're about half hour, 35 minutes long, something like that. Um, this movie stars Hal Holbrook, Adrienne Barbeau, Fritz Weaver, Leslie Nielsen, Carrie Nye, E.G. Marshall, and Vivica Lenfors, and she plays Aunt Bedelia. And it's produced by Richard Rubenstein. Um, yeah, this movie is one of my favorites. I'm not a huge fan of anthology films. There are a few that I like. The Creepshow is one of my favorites for sure. Now there is Creepshow 2 and Creepshow 3. I believe there might even be a fourth one. I'm not sure. I've seen the second one. I've never seen the third one. Now Tom Savini comes back and does the effects for this one again too, and like usual, his effects are up to par for sure. Definitely awesome. So basically, I believe the first story in here is about it's about basically a dad who's kind of a dick, and he's got a daughter named Bedelia, I believe, and she um, isn't very nice to him, but he's not very nice to her, and believe she ends up killing him in this movie. She ends up hitting him in the head with an ashtray, I think, or knocking him down the stairs or something like that. Um, and so the family all gathers together in this house where I believe the father lived, and they all live together. And the father ends up coming um, back from the dead, and he keeps like coming back and telling the daughter and like all and he kills like all the people that are there, but eventually he ends up seeing his daughter, and he keeps telling her that he wants his birthday cake, and it's actually a pretty funny one. It's not real scary, um, but it is pretty funny and it's pretty good. The effects are really good. Now I believe the second one is the one that's got Stephen King in it, and I'm trying to remember. I can't remember what it's called, but basically the story of it is Stephen King plays like this farmer, and like he sees this meteorite hit the ground, and he goes up to the meteorite and touches it, and it like burns him, and next thing you know, like it shows hours have gone by, and like his fingers are starting to turn green, and he goes outside, and the meteor like cracks open when he touches it, so this ooze shit like starts coming out everywhere, and it basically turns like his whole yard like makes it like start growing like a plant, and eventually he like turns into a plant, and it's like hours go by and he's watching TV, and he wakes up, and basically he's turning into a plant, and it's itching him and stuff, and he goes to hop in the bath, and he gets like a vision of his, I'm taking it as his dead father, um, and he says to him like, if you hop in that bathtub, that's gonna be the end of you. You're gonna start growing, and then you're gonna die. Now this one, it's kind of sad at the end. The guy, because the guy Stephen King plays this character who's a farmer, but you can tell he's like mentally challenged. So he's really not there. He's kind of like a little kid almost. And basically the short of it is he knows he's gonna die, and he ends up blowing his brains out with a shotgun. So that one was kind of depressing ending, but it was one of the better stories, I thought. Um, Now the next story on here, I believe, is the one. It's got Ted Danson in it and Leslie Nielsen. And Ted Danson, I don't know if you guys remember or not, but he played in Cheers, the TV show back in the late '80s, early '90s. Um, he basically plays like this big shot kind of guy or whatever, and he's like, boning this chick or whatever, and come to find out the chick that he's seeing is this character Leslie Nielsen's like girlfriend, or I think it's his girlfriend. I don't think they're married, but Leslie Nielsen finds out about this and kind of freaks out, and he owns this place like out on the beach, and he basically takes the girlfriend and buries her up to her neck on the beach and waits for the tide to come in. And he sets up like a TV set, and he's got a TV set in his house rigged to this thing, so he can watch like these people like drowning. So he does that with his girlfriend, and then he does the same thing to the Ted Danson character. Puts him out on the beach, buries him into the sand up to his neck, and watches the tide come in, and both of them die. And he thinks he's got away with it. The Leslie Nielsen character thinks he's got away with it, and basically the boyfriend and girlfriend end up coming back as ghosts, I guess you'd say. They're all like deformed and rotted and shit, and they come back and they kill him. And so that's a pretty good story. The next one I believe on here is about a crate that's like in a museum, and it's found underneath like these stairs by like a janitor that works there. I don't know if it's like a library or like a museum or what the place is. I can't remember. I haven't seen this movie in a while. Yeah, this guy finds this crate, and they come to find out that there's like this monster that lives in this crate, and the effects for this monster that are done are just spectacular. I mean, especially for the '80s. The creature looks really believable, and it's pretty creepy. And from what I remember, they end up killing him at the end, but it's a good one. I recommend it. I think the last story on here is about this guy. I believe it's Adrian Barbeau, or it could be Hal Holbrook. I'm not sure what the guy's name is that plays the character, but I believe he lives in this big apartment building. And like I said, sorry, I'm kind of vague on some of these things. I haven't seen this movie in a while. I probably should have watched it before I reviewed it, but I'll probably start doing that from now on. But I really don't have time to rewatch them and then do a review. Excuse me. But yeah, this guy lives in like a hotel, and he's, we come to find out later on, you find out that he's got like this phobia of bugs. And basically, long story short, the guy ends up like having a cockroach infestation inside the building, and they're like coming out of the walls and out of his sink and shit, and then pretty soon they end up getting in him, and like they come out of his throat. Like I said, the effects are done really well in this movie. It's really good. If you're into anthology films and you've never seen this one, definitely should take a look. The second one's even worth taking a look. I don't own it, so I probably won't review it until I buy it, but it's on the list to buy. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about Creepshow. Like I said, if you haven't seen it, give it a look. It's a good one. Yeah, thanks.